What's up, everybody? This is SJG. Welcome to WSSU Ram Nation. Coming to you guys a little bit differently this afternoon. Got some daddy duty to do a little bit later, but I definitely wanted to hop on, chat with y'all for a little bit. It's been a minute since I've been on WSSU Ram Nation. I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Everybody that has supported the channel, whether you're a WSSU Ram student, alumnus, or just a CIAA cousin or HBCU fan, or you just like to hear me talk. Either way, whatever floats your boat, whatever is your reason for tuning in, we definitely appreciate it. Please go ahead and hit the share button as well as the like button and get a couple people to come in, and we'll get started. Got a pretty good, got a good topic today. I do want to shout out to our family over at the Black College Sports Network, specifically my guys AD Drew and Brian. They started this conversation a little bit earlier in the week on, they actually kind of got me fired up yesterday to get ready to get back for football talk. I know it's been quite a while since football season. And yeah, but it's time to get back there. And one of the things that they talked about over the summer is yesterday they dropped their list of the top 25 players in HBCU football over the last 25 years. Now, I'm going to say this as somebody who does this type of thing all the time with HBCU game day. This is a very difficult thing to do in any given year, let alone for the entirety of this century so far, the 21st century, 2000. And so this is a tough thing to do. It really is. And so I definitely, want to, I could get up here and yell about them and how they got it wrong. And they did get it wrong, but I will say, from somebody who does this all the time, it's tough to get something like this right. And you're never going to please everybody, because everybody thinks they should have multiple players on this list. Everybody thinks that their guys are a cut above. A lot of people don't even think that the Division II guys belong on this list. I think that's bull. But you're never going to please everybody with a list like this. And I, for one, understand it, and I get it. So with that said, I was disappointed but not shocked that Cameron Smith did not get recognition on this list. I just got to be real with you. Again, love the guys, but I wasn't surprised that he got on this list. Although I would have loved to have seen him on this list. I understand that Cam Smith and the WSSU football team that came back to the CIAA in 2010 and eventually made it to the national championship. Everybody in the Manor years, everybody has kind of been discounted by history, or maybe not discounted, but definitely put back on the shelf. Definitely the contributions that they have put into HBCU sports and what they did in 2012, and we'll talk about that in a second. What they did in 2012, going 14-1, undefeated in the CIAA for the second consecutive season, undefeated regular season for the second year in a row, and making it to the D2 national championship game, winning multiple home games, multiple playoff games against PWIs over the course of 3 years, actually, was amazing. But a lot of people discounted it because, of course, WSSU was coming back from the Division I attempt. A lot of people will dismiss it and basically say that a lot of these guys were D1 guys that came to play D1 and stuck around. That's not actually the case. That's not actually what happened. We'll have more videos on that. We'll have more content on that. But I do know, and I'm going to take the time to make sure that I go ahead and share this link. I had a little bit of trouble. Getting started doing this one-man band kind of thing in the middle of the day. It's a little bit different, but it's all good. So let me go ahead and drop that link in there again. If you are watching on the stream, please go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. It's definitely important. And then also, please make sure that you share this as well. Let's just have a little fun with it. Drop the link in here again on Twitter, and we'll get started. So, like I said, again, shout out to AD Drew and Brian, for having this conversation, because it definitely sparked some great conversation. They also challenged us everyone to do their individual program. So I will be dropping a top 25 WSSU players of the 2000s so far. That's gonna be fun. That's gonna be a lot. I'm mostly through it already. I'm kind of on the fringes, so we'll see who makes it. It's gonna be tough. A lot of great football has been played since then. A lot of guys didn't get recognized for honors because they played during the Division I transition attempt. And so, I'm going to highlight some of those, as well as some of the guys who won in the 99 and 2000. And then also on the Maynard run. And then we've had a couple of recent guys who are sneaking their way in there as well. But let me drop that link. Let me drop the link to this. Let me drop the link to this, and then I'll also put it on here. But today, we'll talk about that 2012 team more in depth. But today we're going to focus on one Cam Smith. Cam Smith was the quarterback at WSSU from 2010 through 2012. He left the program as the all-time leading passer in pretty much every statistic, which is pretty significant when you think about the fact that we had a guy who was an NFL prospect as a quarterback, athlete as well. Shout out to Torrey Woodbury and what he did. But yeah, this guy owns all the records. It was kind of the perfect storm. He was surrounded by a lot of talent, and maybe that's why some people discount what he did. But Cam Smith just put up crazy numbers his senior year. He passed for over 3,300 yards, which, there's not a lot of 3,000-yard passers in CIAA football, even to this day, right? Even to this day, when you think about a regular season, it's 10 games for a D2 team. The CIAA only plays 10 games, and then maybe if you get the CIAA championship game, and then if you get to the playoffs, but it's rare that you get a 3,000-yard passer. So 3,300 yards passing. He completed 60% of his passes, which is a good mark. It's a good solid mark. There have been some guys who have been more efficient, i.e. Amir Hall his last couple of years. He did throw 11 interceptions, but he threw 36 touchdowns. He threw for 43. By the time the season was over with, he threw for 43 touchdowns. And just an amazing season. He was the CIAA Offensive Player of the Year. And again, the team went 14-1, and that one loss was in the national championship. No other HBCU has won 14 games in a season, no matter what their division is. None of them have done it. So in the NCAA. So we'll come back and talk about that in just a little bit, but I'll give you guys a quick second to see some of the highlights and see what Cam Smith was doing. It really was an amazing thing to watch, and it really was an amazing thing to watch. And I think a lot of people, again, unfortunately have discounted what he did because of the team that he played on. But you go watch what he did, and we'll see, and we'll make his case and show you that he wasn't just flipping it out there to guys. All right, let's go. Look at it. My man was making all the throws on the run, in the pocket. Dual threat. I mean, escapability. What else? What more do you want? What more do you want? Again. And the thing a lot of people got to remember about this is he was playing a lot of these games. He didn't play in the fourth quarter. A lot of these games he didn't play in the fourth quarter, or he only played maybe one series in the fourth quarter, and then his backup Anthony Carruthers was getting in. I mean, look. I mean, just putting the ball on the money, efficient play from your quarterback. This is what you want. Again, this guy threw 43 touchdowns. And again, he didn't play a lot of fourth quarters. And he also sat out the second half of the CIAA championship game and the first playoff game and part of the second playoff game before they needed him to come in. He came in off the bench and engineered a game-winning drive to keep their championship hopes alive. I know a lot of people weren't paying attention or forgotten and recency bias, but I mean, look at this. Look at this dual threat. I mean, everything that you wanted. I mean, look at him, just escaping. I mean, escaping the pocket. Now, again, a lot of people are going to tell you that this WSSU team was a bunch of D1 guys who came to play D1 dominating D2. Not exactly. Smith started his career at Army, and he wasn't even a quarterback. He was a wide receiver, but he wanted to play quarterback, and he came down from the FBS. And there was actually a lot of guys that did, because a lot of guys actually left WSSU that were recruited to play Division I. Again, just masterful. This is how you want your quarterback to play. But yeah, there were a lot of guys that came to play Division I football at WSSU that left. See him lighting Johnson C. Smith up there. Please go ahead and give a like, a thumbs up. And shout out to Keenis Boulware, the former defensive coordinator and head coach over at WSSU, who recorded all of these. We're kind of watching from his YouTube page, so shout out to him and what he did. This offense was just something to see. You know, they had 2,000-yard receivers and another guy who was close. I mean, they just worked defenses. They just worked defenses. So, again, this is in response to the Black College Sports, the BCSN Sports Wrap with Brian and AD Drew. They put out a top 25 players of the last 25 years of HBCUs, including D2s, and Cam Smith was not on here. There were a couple of guys that were on the quarterback list that I felt he easily stepped over. We'll go ahead and talk about him. The first guy on the list was Jerome Johnson. He was the quarterback for Bowie State when they won their last 2 CIAA titles. So after Amir Hall, they won 2 titles. Really good quarterback. Really great running threat. And then he showed he could do things with his arm, but his team didn't go as far as Cam Smith, and he was not as prolific a passer as he was. You know, was probably a better runner, but he was not as prolific of a passer. And again, this is Cam Smith running. This is one of those games where he barely played in the second half. Again, just playing pitch and catch. But I thought he deserved to get in over him. Casey Thurrott from Jackson State. He put up more yardage, not as many touchdowns, but he also didn't play on the winning team. His team didn't win a championship. You know. And then I will also say Akil Glass. Akil Glass was up there as well. And I could say him and these two guys both played for Maynard, so Maynard could probably tell you about the two of them. But I would say that Cam Smith played on a winning team. He played on a dominant team. Most of those men, the defense that you guys saw from Maynard at Alabama A&M was not the defense that he had at WSSU. He had really great defense at WSSU, so for the most part. Shout out to Tevin Brantley, part of those very successful teams over there with Maynard. They smacked two D1 teams his freshman year. He scored the game-winning touchdown. Yeah, Tevin, they're sleeping on your boy, man. They put out the top 25 quarterbacks in top 25 players in HBCU history over the last 20 years. They had 10 quarterbacks, and Cam Smith wasn't one of them. What? Stiff arm against Fayetteville State. I mean, great pocket there, delivered the ball. I know that the MEAC and the SWAC, they're Division One. We'll talk about that in a second. But, and they kind of discount D2 teams anyway. And then this really dominant D2 team, now they want to use the excuse that, they had a whole bunch of Division One players. The top Division One teams have always had Division One. Division Two teams have always had Division One level players. I mean, I think this is the drive in the playoffs. Yeah, he had been hurt. He didn't start this game, but he came here, and I think this might be the pass. Game was on the line, game winning score. Then they got the 2-point conversion. Sent those guys home in the playoffs. Playoffs. Come on, what are they talking about? This is to get to the national championship game. I mean, this is 14 minutes of a single season highlight. Some of these are replays, but I mean, it just shows you what he was doing that season. National championship game. Oh, God, we came up a little bit short, man. Would have been amazing to win that. But to even get there. National championship game, last couple snaps of his career. Yeah, that Valdosta State team that they're talking about, they would have beat half the SWAC. I saw a lot of SWAC people, griping about D2 and little boy football, but a lot of those teams would have beat them. All right. And again, as we wind that down, we want to send a big shout out to. We want to send a big shout out to Keenan's Boulware for archiving those videos. Shout out to him for just highlighting an amazing year in Black college football history. Not just Winston-Salem State history, not just CIAA history, not just Division II HBCU football history, but HBCU football history in general. Remember, the 2012 WSSU football program went 14-1, 14 games in one season. There's no FCS HBCU team that has won that many games in a single season. They played their competition. They went on the road and won. They played PWIs, had a dominant offense, a really good run game too, as well, in addition to, again, over 3,300 passing yards, 43 touchdowns, 11 interceptions, but 43 touchdowns. And again, he could have easily thrown for 4,000 yards had he played more in the second half, but they were just destroying teams at that point. Let's see. They were just destroying teams at that point, but I mean, just really masterful quarterback play from him. And, you know, even the year before, he had a really solid year, but the year before, they had a guy named Nick Cooper who was an All-American and ended up getting a shot in Green Bay Packers camp. And so, let's see if we can pull up their schedule from let's see if we can't pull up their schedule from that year. Let's see. Pull up their schedule from that year, WSSU. (14-1), 7-0 in conference. They beat UNC Pembroke 28-23. Let's just kind of go game by game and see what he did. 28-23, so a tight game for early season. A really solid opponent. Let's see if is the website going to cooperate with me or not. Okay, let's just go. Then the next week they played Concord in West Virginia on the road. 12 for 23, 2 touchdowns, 1 interception against a pretty good Concord team that year. Let's see. Played against Morehouse. You saw some of those highlights. Yeah, this is what he did against Morehouse in the Cleveland Classic. 21 for 41, 307 yards, 4 touchdowns. And again, you know, he had other quarterbacks that played behind him. Let's see. Yeah, and so the start of the fourth quarter, Anthony Carruthers was in. That's the backup quarterback. So let's see when he comes in. Winston-Salem State drive. Yeah, well, he's literally. So let's see. In the first, okay. So he plays the first series of the second half, and then Anthony Carruthers is in. His backup is in. He did play once more. 28 seconds left. He hit up our guy Tevin Brantley, but you know, so he didn't play the whole year. He didn't play every game, every snap to pad his stats. Let's look at Virginia Union. This is why, you know, guys like my guy, shout out to my guy Gerald Huggins, who works over there at Morgan State. This is why a lot of people don't like us now, man. You know, we're smacking around the school in the CIAA. Box score not showing up there. Let's see. Okay, box score against Bowie State. 20 of 33, 4 touchdowns. He did throw 2 picks. Yeah, but, you know, we see Carruthers played again, as did Townsend. Let's see. So he was playing. Let's see. Yeah, looks like he played into the fourth quarter there. And then against the CIAA South, he just kind of went stupid there. 13 for 15, 5 touchdowns. Let's see, fourth quarter. Was he playing in the fourth quarter? Did not attempt to pass in the fourth quarter of that game. Carruthers was playing in the third quarter in that game. So, all right, against St. Aug, another blowout. 21-31, 3 touchdowns, did throw 2 picks. It was sacked 4 times. So, yeah. But let's scroll down just a little bit more. Livingstone, this was the homecoming game. 16-24, 7 touchdowns, no interceptions. Let's see. He was not playing in the fourth quarter. He was not playing in the fourth quarter. He played in the third quarter a little bit and then got out. Let's see. All right, against Shaw for a 30-point win. He had 6 touchdowns, no interceptions, 363 yards. Dominant performance there against Fayetteville State. We saw the stiff arm there. 13 of 28, 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Let's see. And then CIAA championship game. That is a game he got hurt in. And Carruthers did end up finishing the game, but he had 2 touchdowns there in 10 attempts. He missed the Shippensburg game, came in against Indiana, Pennsylvania in the second half. We saw that there. Let's see. He was 5 for 9 in that game, 1 touchdown. Of course, that was the game winner to get them to the next round. And then the next week, he came up and played another really good game, 15-23, 2 touchdown passes, 223 yards against West Texas A&M. And then against Valdosta State, WSSU lost 35-7. Tough game, but we see the numbers there, 16 for 37, 269 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 interceptions. So I will say, I will say you would have liked to see less interceptions. There were some games where it was kind of close with the interceptions, but I know for me, he passes all the tests. He passes the stats test, he passes the winning test, and he passed the eyeball test. I think for me, being there and watching him play, watching him after coming off cold on a cold day against a really good team, against IUP, to come off the bench and lead a drive, it was like a storybook type thing. And at that point, you really thought WSSU was going to win the NCAA championship game. Didn't happen, but they made it all the way there. So big shout out to him. DPG says sophomore year we were so dominant. Yeah. Again, so Cam Smith, really had a great year. Let's see the honors that he got too. Let's see, Cam Smith, WSSU. So this is from his football page. He did come back and was an offensive coordinator for a season over at WSSU. So listen, in the second game of the 2010 season, he led the Rams to a 32-4 record as a starter. He compiled 7,540 passing yards, 535 attempts, 896 attempts. He's the school record holder in total offense, passing yards, passing attempts, passing completions, and touchdown passes. Led a pair of WSSU playoff runs. So let's see. Yeah. And of course, 2 CIAA championships. He was the NCAA Division II Super Region 1 quarterback in 2011 and 2012. 2012 Box to Row All-American team, the AP Little All-American team. He was also the CIAA Offensive Player of the Year in 2012 and the All-CIAA honor in 2011. Again, I know that WSSU program during the Manor years, the further that's gotten away from it, people like to downsize it again and say that they had D1 players playing against D2, so of course they're going to win. As I said earlier, a lot of guys who came to play at Division I left. Jordan Reed, who went on to become the quarterback in North Carolina Central, and now he's an ESPN analyst. A shout out to him. He left, and he wanted to play Division I football. They did have a couple guys that stuck around and were a part of this championship run. You had Carlos Fields, who didn't get to play in the MEAC years. He redshirted the final season. He became an All-American. I think Akeem Ward was on this team as well. There were a couple of guys, our guy Brantley as well. So, yeah. Anyway, as I said, Cam Smith is the most disrespected HBCU quarterback of all time, probably. Anybody else does this, we're probably talking about an all-time great season, especially in the CIAA. Again, I know I will say Amir Hall over at Bowie State had a career as an individual. I think he outranks Smith. His teams didn't have the success, but I think as an individual, given what he did for 3 years in a row, that outranks him. But outside of that, CIAA wise, I had him number 1. I have him number 2 right now, just because I really seeing Amir Hall do what he did. I have him number 2, but when you're talking about the last 25 years, and you're talking about 10 quarterbacks, and none of them are named Cam Smith, and you're talking about the best of the first quarter century of the 21st century, no way at all. So shout out again to AD and Brian for having the conversation. Very much needed. I had a lot of fun. I've been wanting to make a video about this for quite some while, so I appreciate everybody that tuned in. Please go ahead and hit that like button if you're still in the chat, and if you're watching this afterwards, hit that as well. Got more videos coming for you guys for sure. We're going to talk about a couple of things. Obviously, the upcoming football season. CIAA Media Days around the corner again. Some geniuses decided to have CIAA Media Day during the same time as the SWAC Media Day, so that's a bummer. But, we can't be in two places at once, but, we will have people there. And so we're really excited about that. But also, we definitely want to talk to you guys about our guy who is currently playing over in the G League, Javante Cook. Go over to HBCU Game Day. I wrote an article about that. He is really doing his thing there. So we salute him. Hopefully he'll be the next Ram to get in and be a guy who played in the NBA. So we can talk about that and we can brag about that. But I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Thank you guys so much, WSSU Ram Nation, as well as our CIAA cousins, our HBCU hombres. Everybody's invited. Over at HBCU Game Day, a little bit more buttoned up. That's where, I have to become an objective journalist and make sure that, I cover the entirety of the HBCU sports spectrum. But over here on WSSU Ram Nation, this is where I kind of get the fan out. Sometimes I crash out. But this is where, I go really hard for WSSU and making sure that our legacy as one of the pillar programs in HBCU sports, period, and as an HBCU, does not go unnoticed. So from time to time, I do have to check some of my friends in the HBCU media, or I don't want to say check. Check sounds a little harsh. Let's say pull their coat to what we've done over at WSSU, and hopefully what we're going to do again as well. So I appreciate everybody for tuning in. Please make sure you hit that like button and share this out, and we will see you guys in the next video. Peace.